Yeah, good morning, all of you. Yes, welcome Vishnu, Soy, Dinesh.
Good morning, all of you. Yes, good morning, all of you. Yes, welcome, Vishnu. Sorry.
We'll wait for 1 more minute. Audience are joining now. Aditya, good morning. Charu, good morning. Nageshwari, welcome. Good. Shivam, Pavitra ji, good. Badmanaban, welcome. Praveen Kumar, Aishwarya Balaji, welcome, madam. Karthik, welcome. Praveena, happy morning. Good morning. Yeah. Yeah. Shall we start our program? Shall I invite our guest speaker? Very good morning, Saikran. Yes, sir. Good. Yes, Praveen Kumar, what's your request? We are waiting. Yeah. I am also waiting. Good morning, all of you. Yes. Yes, Praveen, what is your request? Yeah, IFRS. Definitely will consider. I'll ask the resource person, Praveen. Sure. Yeah. Good morning, Subramanian, sir.
Good morning, Hariharan sir. Good morning, my dear friends.
Yeah. Very good morning, all of you, my dear students as well as friends. I'd like to introduce Mr. Subramanian, sir. He's my good friend for the last 15 years. We are friends. He's having tremendous knowledge over taxation and the command over language. Whenever you handle law as well as taxation paper, command in English is important. That plays a vital role. There is no doubt with respect to Subramanian, sir. 12 years back, I did one conference, ICASA conference in Chennai as a chairperson, technical committee chairperson. I requested Subramanian, sir, to write one write-up how to start the session. That session with respect to financial management. Within 5 minutes, he wrote a superb, like poem he wrote. Still I remember, money, 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 money does many, sharper than knife and better than, you can feel your own, okay? So, like rhythmic manner, he used to write many, he's a good reader also. So many books he used to read. He used to advise me to read. I'm poor in reading. And once he has given the example also for block assessment, not a block asset concept. With respect to block asset concept, short term or long term, you have to calculate only based on the year of incorporation, it seems, not based on every individual asset. Further, I given one super example also. If I'm going to purchase a dry fruit box or combo box, combination of more than one products are there. Almost 10 years back, you share the information in Bangalore, sir. There, more than one item is there. You are not going to verify each and every product expiry date. Manufacturing date of the pack only are going to see. Accordingly, we are going to calculate when it is going to expire. Same manner, block asset means you can't the position to calculate for each and every individual asset separately as a year of incorporation. From that, more than what it's confirmed part of long term or short term that you have to calculate. So, and command over English also used to appreciate many occasions. Whenever I'm going to say how we have to use the fund or how you have to excess cash, how we have to invest. But his language is still how to park the fund. So the wordings only different, but it gives a professionalism by way of his delivery. Hand over to Subramanian, sir. Thank you for accepting the offer, sir. Now session starts now. Please, sir.
Thank you, Hariharan, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your lavish praise on me. Hariharan, sir, has grown to this stature because of his hard work and his commitment. I know him for last 15 years. I remember I met him first in his brother's house when he was a student. I'm happy to see how he has grown today. So today the topic for discussion is section 132, which is search in Income Tax Act, popularly called as raid in Income Tax Act. At a time when the world is searching for a medicine to eradicate COVID-19, at a time when the government is searching for the COVID patients, at a time when people are searching how to make money, we are talking about search. 132 of Income Tax Act talks about search. What it essentially says is that to conduct a search, you need a search warrant. Only if there is a search warrant, you can conduct a search. Essentially, this section 132 talks about the assessee's rights and the department powers. The way they have written the section is that section talks both about the rights of the assessees and the department power, the power of the department to search. But let me tell you, my dear friends, when you read section 132 or after we complete this 132, you will find that the lawmaker has leaned more towards the department, giving more powers to them, rather than recognizing the assessee's right in case of search. In other words, I would say that section 132 is leaning more towards the department, giving more favors to the department rather than to the assessee. This search, as far as income tax is concerned, runs from section 132, 132A and 132B. But the point of our discussion today will be more on section 132. After a search is done, what will happen is that there will be a search assessment. The search assessment is covered from section 153A to 153C. So as I said today, the point of our discussion will be section 132, which is search, a very important provision from the exam point of view. do a search, you need a search warrant. Who can issue a search warrant? The search warrant can be issued by Director General of Income Tax, Director of Income Tax, Commissioner of Income Tax, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Additional Director, Additional Commissioner, Joint Director, a potential area for MCQ. These people are called as authorizing officers by a single name. Authorizing officers authorize the search. But what you should understand, the difference between these two sets of officials is that the Director General, Director, Chief Commissioner, and Commissioner of Income Tax have inherent powers to conduct the search. That means the act in themselves, the act itself has given them powers to conduct the search. But with regard to Additional Director, Additional Commissioner, Joint Director, Joint Commissioner, these set of officials can call themselves as authorizing officers one and only if CBDT authorizes them to act. That's where you have to understand the difference. Additional Director, Additional Commissioner, Joint Director, Joint Commissioner, by default, the Act has not given them the power to be authorizing officers. They become authorizing officers only if CBDT authorizes to do some, to play that role. Otherwise, they are not considered as authorizing officers. What we have to understand is that the search warrant is issued by authorizing officers, but the search is conducted by a group of officials who are called as authorized officers. The difference you should make very carefully, because the Act itself recognizes the difference, and this area is a potential question for your exam. Authorized officers conduct the search, whereas authorizing officers issue search warrant, they authorize a search. Authorized officers, namely Additional Director, Additional Commissioner, Joint Director, Joint Commissioner, they conduct the search. These officers, namely the Additional Director of Income Tax, Additional Commissioner of Income Tax, Joint Director of Income Tax, Joint Commissioner of Income Tax, can also delegate this power, of search to assessing officers. So assessing officers can also become authorized officers. They have a role to play for conducting a search, but assessing officers can conduct a search one and only if the Additional Director, Additional Commissioner, Joint Director, or Joint Commissioner of Income Tax authorizes them to do so. The distinction between authorizing officers and authorized officers is made in the Act itself. The authorizing officers are the persons who issue search warrants, and authorized officers are the officers who conduct the search. Where this is said in income tax, this is said under section 132(1) of the Income Tax Act. Generally, when do we search? We do search a lot of things in life. To do a search, there are two things that will come into play. One is the information. For example, let us assume that you are sharing a bike with your brother. You and your brother have the same bike to ride. You use that till afternoon, and in the evening he goes to the evening college, he uses the bike. One day morning, you get up and find that in the key holder, the bike key is not there. So information goes to your brain. Information goes to your brain that the key is not there. Just on that information, you don't search. Why? Because you don't have a reasons to believe. You don't have a reason to believe that the key is lost. Why? Because your brother has a habit of putting the key in his pocket and sleeping. So in that case, you had information that the key is not in the key holder, but you did not search because you did not have reasons to believe that the key is lost. Generally, only when both information and reasons to believe is there, we do the search. This common concept, which is there in search in our common life, you see how they have blended this in the Income Tax Act and added a flavor which is there only for the income taxation. An authorizing officer, namely the Director General to the Joint Commissioner of Income Tax, they order the search when there is information and reasons to believe. They have information and reasons to believe that a search is to be conducted is recorded by them. It has to be documented by the authorizing officers before they write the search warrant. Before writing the search warrant, they should write why the reason to believe. They have to document it. They have information and reasons to believe that if a summon is issued to a person, that person does not respond to it. Or if a summon or a notice is issued to a person, he has a history of not at all responding to it. Or the third one, very, very interesting one, wherein the most of the search cases is done. A person is in possession of information that the person is in possession of article or a thing, money, bullion, jewelry, which is partly out of undisclosed income. So if they have information and information in possession that this person has got money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, and if they have reasons to believe that this has been made by him out of undisclosed income, only then they will order a search. In other words, only these three cases are considered as a fit case for search. Only these three cases are considered as fit case for search under the Income Tax Act. Note it very, very carefully. A favorite for the examiner is here for a question to be asked, which I have marked here in a star. The reasons to believe which the authorizing officers are recording need not be shared with the assessee. It need not be shared with the department, other people in the department. It need not be shared with the tribunal. But if the court asks, then the authorizing officers have to share this. Otherwise, it need not be shared. So, my dear students, please note this area very, very carefully. The reasons to believe need not be shared for the search which is conducted. Where it is said in Income Tax Act, once again, it is said under section 132 subsection 1. Let me tell you, 132 subsection 1 is a very big section. This information about the person having an undisclosed wealth or an unaccounted wealth, this can be given by the outsiders to the department. Or department can have its own intelligence wing to find out that the person is having unaccounted wealth. Or the assessee can himself give information about the unaccounted wealth. You'll be surprised by this statement. How come the assessee is going to give information about the unaccounted wealth? Yes, recently it happened. Recently in a search case in Chennai, wherein a particular group of people who made a movie, their name is Kalpati Group. They made a movie with actor Vijay, and they said that this was their collection from that movie in their tweet. And they also said that actor Vijay was paid so much as a salary or remuneration for that particular project. Yes. Now, that particular group, Kalpati Group, they themselves came forward and disclosed that this is the money that they had. So now the department wanted to know whether this money which they have paid to actor Vijay, whether actor Vijay has disclosed this in his return or not. That was a trigger point for a search. Under search, what will the authorized officers who conduct the search will do? Authorized officers who conduct the search, if they have reason to suspect that in any building, any place, any vessel, any vehicle, or in an aircraft, if there is books of accounts, money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables are kept, then they can enter and search that building. They can enter and search that vessel. They can enter and search that vehicle. They can enter and search that aircraft. Mere suspicion is there. If there is just a suspicion that the books of accounts, money, bullion, jewelry, and other valuables are kept, then they can enter and search. Note it very, very carefully. If the keys are not available, then what they will do? They can break open the door. They can break open the box. If the keys are not available, they can break open the locker. If keys are not available, they can break open the safe. If keys are not available, they can break open the almirah. So the act itself gives them so much wide powers to break open and to conduct the search. If there is a reason to suspect that, if a person has secreted the books of accounts or documents or money, bullion or jewelry or other valuables, and if that person is going to enter this building, before that person enters that building, before any person is going to enter this building, place, vessel, vehicle or after, or vehicle or aircraft, note it carefully, that person who is being entered can be searched. Similarly, if they have reason to suspect that a person has secreted the books of accounts, documents, money, bullion, jewelry, and other valuables, and if they are going to go out of this building, they can also be searched before they are going to move out of this building. Similarly, the third role, what the authorized officers can do, which is given in the act, is that if the books of accounts are kept in an electronic form, then you should give access for the authorized officers for having access for this digitally stored books of accounts. Where this is said, this is once again said under section 132, subsection 1 of the Income Tax Act. Now, what are the other roles which the authorized officer who conducts the search does? If, as a result of a search, note it very carefully, they find that there is books of accounts and other documents, they can seize them. Note it very carefully, an important area for exam. If, as a result of a search, they find that the books of accounts and other documents are there, they can seize them. They can seize them. As a result of a search, if they find that there is money, bullion, jewelry, and other valuables, either they can seize them. But note it very, very carefully. Money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, if they are representing stock in trade, then the authorized officers cannot seize them. I have put a star, a very important point from the exam. For the exam, this is going to be a very, very important point. When money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables are representing stock in trade, then you cannot seize them. The act itself says the authorized officers who conduct the search, this money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, if they are going to represent stock in trade, then it cannot be seized. Then what is the fifth point? The fifth role they play. The books of accounts, other documents which are found in the search, you feel that as an authorized officer, you don't want to seize them. Then what is the remedy for you? As an authorized officer, you can place marks of identification, or the authorized officers can take copies or extracts, leaving the books of accounts with the assessee. So please understand, with regard to books of accounts and other documents, identification marks can be placed, or the authorized officers can take copies or extracts of it. The money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables. Suppose you don't want to seize them. That is left to the department whether to seize or not. The first one we saw, if you want to seize, you can seize, except stock in trade. Suppose the money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables are representing stock in trade, then the act itself denies the permission for the authorized officers to seize them. In that case, what will the authorized officers do? They will make a note of it, or they will make an inventory of it. So they will make a note of it, or they will make an inventory of this, of money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, which they are unable to seize. Why they are unable to seize? Because if it is representing stock in trade, the act denies you the opportunity to seize. In that case, what they will do, money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, they will make a note of it, or they will make an inventory of it in a document called Panchanama. Once again, where it is said in the act, these provisions are said under section 132, subsection 1. If you have any doubt till now, I'm keeping the floor open. Yes, you can come in the chat box also, in the live chat which is there in the YouTube. You can come there if you have a doubt. Then I'll take you through the next session, the next part. Any doubt is there, you can come in the chat box. I've kept the chat box open. You can please come to the chat box. Of course, there is a time lag between the telecast. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. I think nobody's tossing a question there. Good. Nobody has tossed a question. If you have understood and if you're clear, that can also be put so that it helps me to move further. Thank you, Nageshwar. Thank you. Other participants, if you're clear, we'll move on. Very good. That's really good. Thank you. Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Aishwarya. Thank you, Shyam. Thank you, Priyanka. Yeah. Let's move on. Look at this. I have put this in a comparative table, a very, very important one. And I have put a star there in the special note. Satya Kaur, in that case, the department will, income tax department will write to the other department to get the books. Satya Kaur, have you understood that? Please reply in the chat box. The department will write to the other department. Suppose the service tax department has, GST department has, they'll write to them and get it back. Praveen Kumar, is it mandatory to disclose the reasons to the court? If the matter is taken to the court, if court asks, you have to, otherwise you need not. If the court asks what was the reason for conducting the search, then only you have to give. So only if the court asks, you have to share, otherwise you need not share. Mr. Praveen Kumar, are you clear with that? I'd be happy if you respond in the chat. Praveen Kumar, I think I've answered your doubt. If your question has been answered, please come in the chat box. Deemed seizure, order of restraint. The deemed seizure is through the second proviso to section 132 subsection 1, whereas the order of restraint is set through section 132 subsection 3. That means physically they don't seize. Though the power is given, if they are unable to seize because of the volume, weight, or physical characteristics, it is not practicable to take physical possession of money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables. Mr. Praveen Kumar, If you have understood, please come to the chat box and give. Yeah. So if there is difficulty in removing money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, see how beautifully they have written the act. Then they say that the authorized officer then will serve a notice on the person who is searched not to remove that money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables. If they want to deal with it, they say that you take my permission. Here, under the constructive seizure or under the deemed seizure, please note it carefully, the actual seizure does not take place. That means the department does not take away the money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables. Why? Because they are unable to do it because of volume, weight. They don't have vehicles to carry. Because of weight, it is so huge, or other physical characteristics, some dangerous chemicals are kept. Then what they will do, they will leave this money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables, money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables there itself, but give a direction to the person who is searched that you should not part away with this money, bullion, jewelry, or other valuables. You should not part away with. If you want to part away, you should take the permission of the department. Like this, they will put an order. Physically, these are not removed, but it is as good as seized. That is why they are saying, they are naming it as deemed seizure. Deemed seizure means it is as good as a seizure. It is as good as a seizure. And as usual, if that money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, if money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, if it is going to represent stock in trade, then deemed seizure provision cannot be used for it. Note it very carefully. This point is important from the exam point of view. Order of restraint. If it is not practicable to seize books of accounts, money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables, then as per 132 subsection 3, you can do an order of restraint. Now, then what is the essential difference between this and this? For example, Mr. A's premises was searched. The premises of Mr. A was searched. When A's premises was searched, he finds that Mr. B, his brother, lives in the same building, first floor. In the same building, first floor. And Mr. B did not have enough space in his house. Therefore, a part of the jewelry which belongs to Mr. B, he has kept in his brother's house, Mr. A. Now, Mr. B, when the search is being conducted on Mr. A, comes to the people who are conducting the search, comes to the officers and shows, the authorized officers, comes to the authorized officers and shows that these are the jewelry belonging to me. Look at this. Every year I have admitted this as income in my income tax return. Every year I have admitted this in my income tax return. These are the bills which are there for purchases of this jewelry, which are there as a document for you. Now what is going to happen is that there is enough proof that this particular jewelry does not belong to Mr. A, but it belongs to Mr. B. But still, authorized officers want to have a conclusive proof. They want to document all these things. They want to take extracts of all these things. Or they can ask B to come and provide the proof. Or B might say that the bills are not available with me right now. I will submit it to you in a day or two. So in that case, B shows that, look at these jewelries are owned by my son, by my daughter, by me, by my wife. Look at the photos and all. Now, department has a suspicion, but not a belief. They feel that, yes, it might belong to B, not to A, but they need proof of purchasing it. So they might allow this particular bullion jewelry to be left there itself in the place of Mr. A, and this order of restraint will be there, not to remove this, not to part this, without the permission of authorized officers. This order of restraint is valid for 60 days. In that 60 days time, Mr. B, the brother of A, can go to the department and submit all the proof to prove that this bullion or jewelry belongs only to him and not to Mr. B, and get it released. Therefore, if a particular possibility is not there to write a constructive seizure, then an order of restraint can be passed. That is there in section 132.3. What you have to understand is that with regard to order of restraint, the validity of the order is 60 days, that is set under section 132.8A of Income Tax Act. Any doubt in these two tables, in this table, very important from exam point of view, important for MCQs also, and keeping the chat box open. If you have a doubt, you can toss the question there. I'm ready to take your questions. Anybody who asks a question without a time delay, if I have clarified without a time delay, just give an answer that you have understood so that it helps us to proceed fast. Yes. All of you clear with that? Very good. Arjun, Menon, Aishwarya, thank you. Clear. Concepts are clear. All the participants, why don't you participate and say whether you have understood it or not, please. Priyanka, thank you. Others? Yeah. Sai, thank you. The clarity of thought should be there. Sivan, thank you. Yeah. So I'll move on to the next one now. The A lives in Bangalore. That is where the search is conducted. Look at it very carefully. So the Bangalore Chief Commissioner, the Bangalore Commissioner who has jurisdiction on him, that the search is being conducted. Now, while search is being conducted, the officers come to know that this person has a building in Mysore, in which the department suspects that more undisclosed income is kept. Please note it carefully. The commissioner who is having jurisdiction on Mr. A, that gentleman, that commissioner had given him an opportunity to search, and the search is being conducted in Bangalore. While the search is being conducted, they come to know that Mr. A has a house in Mysore where they suspect that more money could have been kept there, more money, more bullion, more jewelry could have been kept there. The Bangalore Chief Commissioner does not have jurisdiction on this building in Mysore. See how beautifully they have written that. See how beautifully they have written that. Now, in that case, what they will do, what the department will do, the department will take the permission of the Mysore Chief Commissioner who has the jurisdiction. They will ask the Mysore Commissioner who has jurisdiction. They will ask him for searching that building. The Mysore Commissioner can authorize the search to be conducted at Mysore. Reasons to be searched has to be recorded, and this reason to be searched will not be disclosed to anyone except the court. So the Mysore Chief Commissioner will write saying that Mr. A was being searched in Bangalore and that they have a suspicion now that he has a building in Mysore. In that building, he has got money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables which are undisclosed. He will write this as a reason and he will authorize the officers to conduct the search. Therefore, the role of jurisdiction, generally which is followed in Income Tax Act for assessments, etc., need not necessarily be followed in case of search. This is said under section 132 1A of Income Tax Act. Even if the people are not having jurisdiction on you, officers are not having jurisdiction on you, search can be conducted by the officers belonging to the department who do not have jurisdiction. The Bangalore officials can go to Mysore and search, or Mysore officials can themselves search the building of Mr. A. Look how beautifully they have written the provision. That is why I said the provision under section 132 is more leaning towards the department rather than the assessor. They can take the help of the police or other central government officials for conducting the search. So the help of police, the help of central government staff belonging to any department, they can be taken, their help can be taken to conduct the search. It is said under section 132 subsection 2. Recently, this happened in Chennai. Quite recently, a prominent person who also belongs to the TDD trusts, Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam Trust, Mr. Reddy, I don't want to disclose his full name. When his house was searched, CRPF officials were deployed. CRPF officials were called upon to help in the search operations. Whenever they are conducting a search, the authorized officers who conduct the search, during the course of the search, they can examine the persons on oath. When they examine the persons on oath who have control on money, bullion, jewelry, and other valuables, they examine such person on oath, and whatever oath is given by such person, that oath will be used for the matter related to search, for completing the search assessment, or note it very, very carefully, or whatever information which is shared on oath can be used under any other investigations in the Income Tax Act. In short, whatever you give on oath, when a person is examined on oath, that subject matter which you give on oath will not only be used for the purpose of completing search assessment, but note it very carefully, it can be used for any other investigation in that. This is a very, very important piece for the exam. That is why I have put it in a different color. Any other investigation in that. Therefore, whatever information they collect, the authorized officers collect, they will not only use it for completing search assessment, but also for conducting other investigations under the Act also. Not only that, note it very carefully, they can record the statement. They can record the statement. All these recordings of inventory or all these recordings of statements and all these things they will do. When these recorded statements are there, the recorded statements can also be used under any proceedings under the Act. Whatever statements they record here can be used in any proceeding under the Act. So this is also very important for exam. Since I've gone for a PPT presentation, which part is important for exam? I put a star for it. Where this is said under section 132 subsection 4. This part, my dear friends, as where this information can be used is very, very important. Very, very important. Any other investigation in the Act, they can use it for any other pending assessments or whatever it is, they can use it. Whatever is found during search, which is in the possession of the person being searched, it is assumed that this money, bullion, jewelry which is found, or the books or other documents which is found, it is presumed that it belongs to that person only. But note it carefully, the content of the books and the other documents, the content are also believed to be true. So they find a diary, they find a diary. Now they will conclude that the content is true. And the handwriting in the books of accounts or the signature in the other documents, it is presumed that it is of that person who is being searched. But note it very carefully. This handwriting and the presumption and signature, all these are rebuttable presumptions, but not absolute presumption. Why it is not an absolute presumption? It is considered as a rebuttable presumption. I'll give you an example. For example, there is a money lender. His place of business and house is being searched. In that case, he might have jewelry of his clients. Therefore, now even though the presumption is that this money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables belongs to the person who is being searched, that is not an absolute conclusion. You can later go to the department and show all the records that this belongs to this particular client on whom I have given a loan. That is why they have written in the law that the presumption here is a rebuttable presumption, but not an absolute presumption. This is said in the section 132(4)(a). The books of accounts which are seized, what can be done with this? Note it very carefully. The department can retain it for a period of 30 days after the completion of search assessment. Therefore, till the assessment is completed and well after the assessment is completed, they can use it for, they can have it for another 30 days. And what is the right of the assessee now? The assessee should have a copy of these books if it is being seized. If books are not seized, then this provision does not apply. If books or accounts are being seized by the department, this person has to defend his case. Therefore, the law says that the department people who have got the right to retain the books which is given in the Act, now the person who was searched, he will go to the department. He will request the authorized officer, and if the authorized officer gives permission, he will make copies or extracts of the books so that he can use these to defend him when an assessment is being done. Therefore, the department has got a right to retain it for a period of 30 days after the completion of search assessment. At the same time, the person who is being searched should also be protected because he should defend his case in a search assessment. That is why the Act says that he can make copies and extracts of it. Beyond 30 days, that is, after completing the assessment, they can have it for a period of 30 days. Now the question is, beyond 30 days, can the officers have these books of accounts? The answer is yes. If they want to retain it beyond a period of 30 days, after completing the assessment, then the assessing officer has to obtain the permission of higher officials, namely Chief Commissioner, Commissioner, Director General, or Director of Income Tax. Then if they get the permission, then these books can be kept for a period beyond 30 days. You might wonder, why should the department, after completing the assessment, plus 30 days is already given, why should the department still want it to retain? Note it, my dear friends, very, very carefully. If there is any other proceeding to be completed under the Act, for example, a penalty proceeding is to be conducted under the Act, or Mr. A was searched, he is a director of A Limited. A Limited company was also searched. Now the search assessment of Mr. A is completed, but A Limited is not yet completed. The department might need the books of Mr. A, the director of the company A Limited. Then they can retain these books of accounts. And note it very, very carefully. This person has been given a right. Mr. A, whose books of accounts have been seized, B has given a right to objection. If they want, he can object to the CBDT saying that no, this they can't do. But I'm telling you, 132 subsection 10, which gives the power for the assessee to raise an objection to retaining these books beyond 30 days is only in paper. Practically, this is of no use. Department does not entertain. Why? Because if the department feels that these books of accounts have to be kept beyond 30 days, yes, that is leaning towards the department. That is leaning towards the department. And at last, when they should return the books, if they complete all the assessment proceedings, for example, in the example I gave you, for penalty proceeding, if they want, they can retain. So after the penalty proceeding is retained, within 30 days of completion of the penalty proceeding, they should give back. Or another example I gave you, Mr. A was being searched, the director of the company was being searched. Mr. A, the director of the company was being searched. His assessment was completed, but the company was also searched. A limited assessment was not yet completed. Now, for A limited assessment to be completed, if they want, they can retain the books of the director, Mr. A. That is what we saw. Now, if the A limited assessment is getting completed, then after the 30 days, they should return the books to Mr. A. Very important provision. If you have any doubt in section 132.8, 132.9, and 132.10, the chat box is open. Let me tell you, 132.10 is more in paper, but practically it does not have a great significance. Any doubt? I'm keeping the chat box open. Because since it's a very important provision, cumulatively, I don't want to take the doubts. So section by section, I'll be taking the doubts. I think that the doubts are not coming in the chat box. I think all of you are clear. So I move on. Authorized officers who conduct the search finds that he does not have a jurisdiction. For example, in Mysore, they conducted the search and he does not have a jurisdiction. In Mysore, they have found money, bullion, jewelry, other valuables. Books of accounts they have found in Mysore. Then the authorized officers who conduct the search in Mysore, they have to hand over these books of accounts, other documents within a period of 60 days from search is completed. And this has to be given to the assessing officer who has jurisdiction. Satya Kaur, you had asked a doubt. Can the department hold the books for a maximum period of 60 days? Department means income tax department, because the income tax department needs these books for completing the search assessment or other proceedings under the Act. Satya Kaur, is your doubt answered? "30 days and 30 days are separate. Suppose A was alone searched, he does not have any other related searches with him, then they will return it to him. But A and A limited was searched, then they can retain it. Or they want to have a penalty proceeding on him." Yeah, Satya Kaur. Thank you. Praveen Kumar, thank you. So where this is said, that the authorized officers who do not have jurisdiction, that is the authorized officers who conduct the search, they should return the books of accounts, money, bullion, jewelry. They have to return it within a period of 60 days to the assessing officer having jurisdiction. Why they should return it to the assessing officer who is having jurisdiction? Because assessing officer alone can do an assessment now. That is why. Where it is said under section 130, 132, 9A of Income Tax Act. Also note it very carefully. Another important point, the authorized officers can make a reference to the valuation officer to estimate the fair market value of the property. And if this reference is made to the valuation officer, then the valuation officer has to value the property within 60 days from the date on which search was completed. The authorized officers can request the valuation officer to value the property, and the valuation officer has to estimate the fair market value of the property, and within 60 days they have to give this report to the authorized officers. Both are 60 days. Please be very, very careful. Very, very careful. The days are important. The days are important. So the valuation officer has to submit a report to the authorized officer within a period of 60 days of reference. This is said under 132(9)(d) of Income Tax Act. Note it very carefully. Another very, very important point from the exam. The authorized officers, within a period of 60 days of completion of the search, in order to protect the revenue, they can attach the property after recording the reasons and getting the permission of the Director General and Director of Income Tax. Provisionally, they can attach this property if they have a reason to suspect that this property has to be attached to protect the interest of the revenue. Then after recording the reasons, and getting the approval of Director General or Director, attach the property provisionally. This is said under 132(9)(b) of the Acts. Put it very carefully. The order which they pass under 132(9)(b) is valid only for 6 months. So automatically after 6 months, the provisional attachment gets vacated. So this provisional attachment, a new amendment, 2-year-old amendment, to protect the interest of the revenue, the department wants, they can seal the property. They can provisionally attach the property. This release of property, which is to be done within a period of 6 months, is said under section 132(9)(d). This is a short roundup of section 132 of the Act. What is important from the exam point of view, I have covered. If you have any doubts, I'm keeping the chat box open. The chat box is open. Yes. Satya Kaur, thank you. Arjun Menon, thank you. Praveen, thank you so much. Thank you, Aishwarya. In fact, we had to search the best means to reach you. and I thought PPT will be a best means to highlight, to animate and teach. Thank you, Sundar. Thank you, Goki. Thank you, Sivan. I also enjoyed the session as you enjoyed, Mr. Sivan. Thank you for your rich compliments. Mr. Satya Kaur, I was confining my discussion only to 132. Probably if time is there, we'll look into the other aspects of search also later. Yes. Shivan, thank you. Praveen, without taking the permission of Mysore official, you cannot do. The act warrants you to do it like that. Thank you, Satya. At least practically, I'll tell you, at least over phone, they will inform and get the necessary papers. Tamil, thank you. Yeah. Praveen, I think your doubt got clear. Praveen, I'd be happy if you post whether your doubt got clear. Raghunath, thank you. Yes. I think Mr. Praveen, your doubt got clear. Can you come in the chat box? The same enthusiasm what you had for typing your question. We'll be happy if you have the same enthusiasm to type whether your doubt got clear. Vignesh, thank you. Thank you, Vignesh. Yeah, earlier student. Yeah, I think we had that evening batch at Premier. Is that right, Vignesh? Yes. I think I will hand over now to Hariharan sir. Hariharan sir is waiting. Thank you for the opportunity, Hariharan sir.
Yeah. So thank you so much, all of you. Thank you, Subramanian sir. Dear students, next week we are going to start a direct taxation amendment class for final by our Subramanian sir. Kindly register for that DT amendment class, which is applicable for coming July examination. Today evening also we are having free webinar with respect to stress management by Bharat Kumar sir. And tomorrow evening we are having time management program by one of my student, Manyata from Bangalore, Chartered Accountant, CA Manyata. She is going to address. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye. Bye, all of you.